Alrighty guys, Chippy12 here with an opening of the Venser versus Koth Duel Decks. Today I'll just be opening up the Venser pack deck because me and my brother are splitting this. So, let's get it opened up. First of all, it has a very nice foily box that it comes in, which is awesome. Shame to have to rip it open. Anyway, there's the box. And here we've got the deck boxes, one for Venser and one for Koth. Erupt and Overwhelm, and Evade and Shimmer. We've also got a strategy guide and a rules tips. So, we have got pretty awesome looking Venser in its foilness. So his effects are +2, exile target permanent you own, return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. -1, creatures you control are unblockable this turn. -8, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, exile target permanent. He is one of my favorite planeswalkers, definitely. And I think I equally like this artwork and the artwork from Scars of Mirrodin. They're both pretty nice. So for the deck, we'll start off with a white main line, which would go very well with the enter the battlefield attacks with the rest of the cards in the deck. And we've got Augury Owl, which has an effect when it enters the battlefield, so you'll be bouncing that with Venser. Got Coral Fighters, which will go well with the unblockable effects that they have with Venser and some other creatures in this deck, such as the Minimo Sightbender, which will make your guys unblockable to get effects for that. And then the Mistmeta Witch will also help you get enter the battlefield effects. We've got 2 Scroll Thieves, also for unblockability, because whenever they deal combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card, which is pretty awesome. The Invisimancer, to give more unblockability. Slith Strider, 2 of them. Whenever it becomes blocked, draw a card, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this kind of works with the unblockability, but it's just awesome by itself because they have to decide whether to block it or not, because either way you get a good effect. The Sky Spirit, which is a pretty nice flyer, 2/2 first strike. And we have the Wall of Denial, which is a pretty insane defender. It's a 0/8 defender flying with Shroud. We've got the Gale Powder Mage, which will whenever it attacks, exile another target creature and then return it to the battlefield, so it'll get you some more of your enter the battlefield effects. And then the Core Cartographer, which will let you get more planes when it enters. The Clone, which you can keep bouncing with Venser or the other things in the deck to copy whatever you need to copy. And then we have the Cryptic Annelid, which will let you when it enters the battlefield, you get Scry 1, then Scry 2, then Scry 3, which is pretty weird, but cool. Got Primal Plasma, so whenever you need to, you can bounce it and make it whatever you need. Either a 3/3, a 2/2 with flying, or a 1/6 with defender. Got Sawtooth Loon. When it enters the battlefield, return a white or blue creature to your hand. So that'll also help you get those enter the battlefield effects. And when it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your library. So that's another one you can bounce out and back in. This will also help you bounce your creatures out and back in, because it returns creatures to your hand. We have the Wind Reaver, which has a bunch of different effects on it. Vigilance, +0/+1, switching its power and toughness, and returning it to its owner's hand. Dreaded Dragoons, for you to gain 4 life every time you bounce it. Got Sunblast Angel to destroy all tapped creatures when it enters. The Sphinx for Factor Fiction whenever it enters also. Just pretty awesome actually in this deck. Path to Exile, one of the best removal cards for 1 white. Get to exile target creature, then they get a basic land, or it could be your own creature. Then they shuffle their library. And also it has the really cool new artwork, which I love. Also got 2 Preordains, which will let you scry 2, then draw a card. With new artwork also. Sigil of Sleep, which will, when it deals combat damage to a player, you get to return target creature that player controls to its owner's hand. So that's more with combat damage and the unblockability. Revoke Existence for more removal. Angelic Shield to give your guys +0/+1 and sacrifice it to return target creature to its owner's hand, which can either be good against their creatures or help you get an effect of your own. The O-Ring, which is more awesome removal. Safe Passage, which will prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn. Seal of the Godhead, which will help you with your white-blue creatures. They will get +1/+1 in lifelink and +1/+1 in unblockable, which will also help with the dealing combat damage. And then we have Vanish into Memory. Exile target creature, you draw cards equal to that creature's power. At the beginning of your next upkeep, return that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control. If you do, discard cards equal to its toughness. That's also a pretty nice one. We got 2 overrules for countering and gaining life. Got the lands now. Azorius Chancery for your white-blue. Floodplain, which looks really awesome in its new border and fixed up artwork. I'm glad to see that reprinted. New Benalia, which will let you scry. And 2 Sajiri Refuges, which will also, when you play them, you get to gain 1 life, so that'll also help you with your come into play effects. Got Soaring Seacliff, which will help you get combat damage through, and it has an enter the battlefield effect. Then we've got 7 Plains, which I love because they're all the old Mirrodin artwork, as well as the islands, which we have 11 of. And then to finish it off, we have the awesome Venser emblem. I love the emblems, and they had it in Dark Ascension for Sorin, but these ones actually have the real Magic card backs on them. So it's pretty cool. So thanks for watching. Please comment and subscribe, and keep watching for more Magic videos.